One concept in writing Amazon genre fiction that took me a while to wrap my head around. I'm still having a little trouble getting used to it. I'm not very good at any of these things. Um, is the fact that to be successful monetarily, to sell a lot of books on Amazon in the Kindle rat race, basically, uh, the fact is the quality of the book is not the most important thing, which is sort of the opposite of what you would think. You would think it would start with the quality, how good the book is, and then other factors would fit into that equation. But no, apparently the most important thing from the tried and true veterans that are doing very well, your cover. Your cover has to look professional. It doesn't have to be an award winner, but it doesn't want to look amateurish. And I think more importantly, it needs to reflect the genre. It can be the most beautiful thing done by a world famous artist, but if it shouts to the diehard readers that it's a romance novel and you're trying to write, um, a cozy mystery, it won't work. So it has to, without reading anything about the book, at a glance, the reader has to be able to determine uh, the genre, or at least within a couple of related genres. Second most important thing is your description. They call it the blurb, and that's right on the Amazon page, and that describes the book. And there's different approaches to that, and we'll go into that in another video. Um, but that is supposedly the second most important thing. And those are apparently head and shoulders above everything else, the cover and the blurb. And then after that are your reviews. They don't have to be 5-star reviews, but you want to have a significant number of reviews to at least look like, so at least it looks like people are interested. Even if you have some 1-stars in there, apparently that's okay if your overall reviews are, hovering around 4 stars type of thing, but that there are a lot of them because that shows people are interested. Even then, if they give 1 stars, it means they read it, they were interested in it, they got mad at certain things they didn't like about it, but at least they read the book. Um, and it's not really so much what the words, the descriptions in the reviews. I don't think readers necessarily, readers who are shopping necessarily take a lot of time to read the reviews, but just the overall image of, this guy's got 232 reviews and he averages 4 stars. That intrigues them enough to go on to the next step, which may be, is this written in a series? Another important thing. If it's a standalone book, that's sort of a red flag, apparently, for the modern voracious ebook Kindle readers. They don't want to start something that is going to end after that book. If they're going to invest their time and energy into starting something, they want to start the beginning of a series. Excuse me, where if they like it, then they see 3 or 5 or 8 or 10 more books that are available to them, and they can look forward to those. So you want to write in a series, apparently, and I've tried to, abide by that. I enjoy writing my series, but I think if you could write, 5 great novels individually, one nothing to do with the other, you probably wouldn't do very well. But if you had those same 5 novels linked in a series, same characters, storyline advancing, that type of thing, you might knock it out of the park. And the next important thing is the genre. Some genres are just much more desired than others. Some are not really going to work with ebooks. If you write, historical fiction, something like that, I'm not sure. Certainly literary fiction, probably not. But if you write romance, there's a whole bunch of different categories of romance, some sleazier than others, and and science fiction. And right now, I think military science fiction does very well. It's the Star Wars kind of stuff. I think fantasy does pretty well. There's areas like that, and mysteries, thrillers to an extent. but you've got to choose a genre that's fairly popular. And then the next thing would be your categories. You designate categories that your book falls into, and when people search, etc., they can find them in those categories. If you get in the top 100 in a certain category, you'll be found more often. Amazon also, with its complicated algorithm, then will promote your book more too, if you get into the top 100 in various categories. So you have to pick the right categories, and they go along with the genre. And then maybe the final thing in that whole group would be the look inside. And that's when they're interested enough through all these other reasons to click on the upper left corner of your page, and they can read a little sample of the book. It's supposed to be 10%. I think it's less than that often appears, but they can read, maybe, the half a chapter, depending how long it is, maybe the first chapter, and see. And I think typically people read a page or half a page. So that apparently has to kind of knock them dead. That has to close the deal. You can't be easing into the story too much if they're on the fence. But isn't that amazing? All these factors, not one of them, and these are sort of in descending order, I guess, of importance. I mean, not one of them includes how good the book actually is. Now, you might say, well, it has to be pretty good to get decent reviews. That may or may not be true. I'm not going to dispute that completely. But the bottom line is it could be only fair. It could be a mediocre novel, get a lot of reviews, get a lot of pretty good reviews because it feeds, a certain readership and they get excited about it, etc., or they're fans of the author. But the book can do very well, sell a lot of copies without really being necessarily very good. That's not on the list. And that's a hard thing for me. I have a lot of trouble with the marketing aspect. And that's what you really have to do. You got to be great at the marketing, setting up the cover, setting up the blurb. But there's a lot more than that to it in terms of probably putting in an equal amount of time daily marketing as you do writing. And that's just not my thing. And maybe it will become that, etc. And I know I don't do nearly as well as I could be doing if I dedicated myself to more intense marketing. And maybe, as I say, maybe at some point I will. Right now, I just enjoy writing the books, putting them out there, and sort of organically letting people find them and going from there. But I'm always amused. I still, as I say, I have a little trouble wrapping my head around the fact that the quality of the book is not really on the list of the factors that make it successful in Kindle genre fiction. Okay.